The weight of destiny. For as long as Martin could remember, he had felt the weight of failure resting heavily on his shoulders, like an unshakable shadow that followed him wherever he went. Born to a family of modest means, he wasn't born into privilege or opportunity, but he was always the one who worked harder, dreamed bigger, and believed, with stubborn hope, that he could rise above his circumstances. Throughout his 20s, he had tried his hand at countless ventures. He ran a small coffee shop, poured his heart into it, only for it to collapse under the pressure of debts he could not repay. He tried his hand at writing, convinced that the stories in his mind could offer him an escape. But the rejection letters piled up, each one a reminder that success wasn't meant for him. Every failure chipped away at him, but nothing hurt as much as losing Sophie. Sophie was the one light in his life. She loved him fiercely, believed in him when no one else did. For years, she stood by his side through failed jobs and broken dreams, waiting for the day he would catch a break. But even her patience had limits. Eventually, the weight of Martin's misfortune wore her down. She left with tears in her eyes, telling him it wasn't because she didn't love him, but because she couldn't keep hoping for a future that never seemed to come. The day she walked out was the day Martin's world turned truly cold. By the time Martin reached his late 30s, he was a man hollowed out by life. He had learned to live with disappointment, had numbed himself to the sting of hope. But then, one evening, he stumbled upon an old friend who had found success in trading. His friend had made a small fortune from investing, and he encouraged Martin to try it out. At first, Martin was hesitant. He had little money left after years of failure, but with nothing else to lose, he decided to invest the last of his savings into the world of trading. And, astonishingly, things began to change. Beginner's luck, some called it, but Martin called it fate. Within weeks, he made small profits, and for the first time in years, he felt something stir inside him. Hope. He threw himself into trading, learning everything he could about the market. The profits grew, and for the first time in his life, Martin felt the winds of fortune at his back. The success was intoxicating. He started dreaming again about paying off his debts, about building a life where he could stand tall, about winning Sophie back. But as quickly as success came, it began to slip through his fingers. The market turned against him. Bad investments, poor decisions, and a creeping arrogance led to losses that chipped away at his hard-earned money. Day after day, his account balance shrank, his confidence faltered. He tried to claw back what he had lost, but the more he tried, the deeper his losses grew. Martin watched, helpless, as his profits turned into losses and his small fortune evaporated into nothing. Every night, he sat alone in his one-bedroom apartment, staring at the screen, watching the numbers fall, as though his entire life was unraveling before him. One morning, he logged into his account and saw the cold, hard truth. He had lost it all. Every last dollar. He had gambled with the last remnants of his life and lost. The realization hit him like a freight train. He was destitute, broken, with no way to recover. Sitting in the darkened room, Martin felt the weight of all his years, all his failures, all the dreams that had slipped through his fingers. He had nothing left. No money, no love, no hope. For a long time, Martin sat in silence, the crushing emptiness surrounding him. He realized then that it wasn't just the money he had lost, it was his belief that he could ever escape the destiny that had been chasing him his entire life. Success, love, happiness, it had always been just out of reach, like a mirage in the desert. Martin closed his eyes, feeling the bitter sting of regret. He had tried, more times than he could count, but no matter what he did, failure always found him. Now, all that was left was the hollow ache of a man who had nothing left to lose. And as the darkness closed in, Martin understood the cruelest truth of all. Some people are simply destined to fall.